Hey everyone, wanted to bring you an interesting video about the great repository in the hill Cumorah. The hill Cumorah in New York. So you'll see a picture there below. That is a picture of this hole that was a boy who was playing on the hill fell into, and they were able to pull him out of the hole. And many believe that this is the repository, and we're going to read some quotes about the repository and how it is located in the hill Cumorah in New York. Amazing quotes in past general conferences by apostles and prophets. I hope you enjoy this video. This is an incident in the life of Oliver Cowdery. This is Brigham Young speaking in a general conference talk. This is an incident in the life of Oliver Cowdery, but he did not take the liberty of telling such things in meeting as I take. I tell these things to you, and I have a motive for doing so. I want to carry them to the ears of my brethren and sisters, and to the children also, that they may grow to an understanding of some things that seem to be entirely hidden from the human family. Oliver Cowdery went with the prophet Joseph when he deposited these plates. Joseph did not translate all the plates. There was a portion of them sealed, which you can learn from the Book of Doctrine and Covenants. When Joseph got the plates, the angel instructed him to carry them back to the hill Cumorah, which he did. Oliver says that when Joseph and Oliver went there, the hill opened, and they walked into a cave, in which there was a large and spacious room. He says he did not think at the time whether they had the light of the sun or artificial light, but that it was just as light as day. They laid the plates on the table. It was a large table that stood in the room. Under this table there was a pile of plates as much as 2 feet high, and there were altogether in this room more plates than probably many wagon loads. They were piled up in the corners and along the walls. The first time they went there, the sword of Laban hung upon the wall, but when they went again, it had been taken down and laid upon the table across the gold plates. It was unsheathed, and on it was written these words: "This sword will never be sheathed again until the kingdoms of this world become the kingdom of our God and his Christ." I tell you this as coming not only from Oliver Cowdery, but others who were familiar with it, and who understood it just as well as we understand, coming to this meeting, enjoying the day, and by we separate and go away, forgetting most of what is said, but remembering some things. So it is with other circumstances in life. I relate this to you, and I want you to understand it. I take this liberty of referring to those things so that they will not be forgotten and lost. Well, brothers and sisters, I feel like they are forgotten and they have been lost, and that this is not generally known in our church, but it is stated by the prophet in the Journal of Discourses. And there's more. In response to Brother Mill's statement about the hand cart pioneers, Heber C. Kimball said, "How does it compare with the vision that Joseph and others had when they went into a cave in the hill Cumorah and saw more records than 10 men could carry? There were books piled up on tables, book upon book. Those records this people will yet have, if they accept of the Book of Mormon and observe its precepts and keep the commandments." Heber C. Kimball in the Journal of Discourses. But the grand repository of all the numerous records of the ancient nations of the western continent was located in another department of the hill, and its contents put under the charge of holy angels until the day should come for them to be transferred to the sacred temple of Zion. Orson Pratt in the Contributor. Will these things be brought to light? Yes, the records now slumbering in the hill Cumorah will be brought forth by the power of God, to fulfill the words of our text, that the knowledge of God shall cover the earth as the waters cover the great deep. Orson Pratt in the Journal of Discourses. In his book Reminiscence of Joseph the Prophet and the Coming Forth of the Book of Mormon, Edward Stevenson relates an interview with David Whitmer in 1877. It was likewise stated to me by David Whitmer in the year 1877 that Oliver Cowdery told him that the prophet Joseph Smith and himself had seen this room, and that it was filled with treasure, and on a table therein were the breastplate, the sword of Laban, as well as the portion of the gold plates not yet translated, and that these plates were bound by 3 small gold rings, and would also be translated as the first portion in the days of Joseph. When they are translated, much useful information will be brought to light, but till that day arrives, no Rochester adventurers shall ever see them or the treasures, although science and mineral rods testify that they are there. Very interesting. That's putting our location, David Whitmer is putting the location right there in New York. In an interview with P. Wilhelm Poulsen, David Whitmer gave another account of the cave. Poulsen asked, "Where are the plates now?" Whitmer states, "In a cave where the angel has hidden them up till the time arrives when the plates which are sealed shall be translated. God will yet raise up a mighty one who shall do this work till it is finished, and Jesus comes again." Poulsen, where is that cave? Whitmer, in the state of New York. Poulsen, in the hill Cumorah? Whitmer, no, but not far away from that place. In other words, according to David Whitmer, who is an original witness, the records have been moved. Attended meeting of discourse from W. Phelps. He related a story told him by Hiram Smith, which was as follows. Joseph, Hiram, Oliver Cowdery, and David Whitmer went to the hill Cumorah. As they were walking up the hill, a door opened, and they walked into a room about 16 feet square. In that room was an angel and a trunk. On that trunk lay a Book of Mormon and gold plates, Laban's sword and Aaron's breastplate. Although not a member of the church, this is a separate account, Elizabeth Kane lived in St. George, Utah, and entertained the company of Brigham Young. She recorded the following discussion in her journal. "I asked where the plates were now, and saw in a moment from the expression of the countenances around that I had blundered, but I was answered that they were in a cave, that Oliver Cowdery, though now an apostate, would not deny that he had seen them. He had been to the cave. Brigham Young's tone was so solemn that I listened bewildered like a child to the evening's witch stories of its nurse. Brigham Young said that when Oliver Cowdery and Joseph Smith were in the cave this third time, they could see its contents more distinctly than before. It was about 15 feet high, and round its sides were ranged books of treasure. In the center was a large stone table, empty before, but now piled with similar gold plates, some of which lay scattered on the floor beneath. Formerly the sword of Laban hung on the walls, sheathed, but it was now unsheathed and lying across the plates on the table. And one that was with them said it was never to be sheathed until the reign of righteousness upon the earth. I hope you enjoyed this video. It has some very interesting accounts of this large repository in the hill Cumorah, where all the records, both Jaredite and Nephite are hidden. An amazing thing, but it also makes you think, where did the Book of Mormon actually take place? Let you think about that.